Okay, now it works. Sorry. Just, yeah, there was for a strange reason I pressed a button on my preamp and then the it wouldn't work anymore. So that took a while to figure out what was going on. So welcome everyone, nice to see you here. After already a lot of stream today, there will be a lot, not a lot, but a little bit more. We watched together episode 3 of The Rings of Power, and I hope you had a fantastic day so far. Haven't caught up with messages or anything. Yeah, so no idea what's going on today outside of streaming and watching Rings of Power. So that is kind of good. But yeah, kind of interesting. I'm just currently reading something on Twitter. Pretty interesting. But yeah, so how was your day until now, Chad? Very interesting. Yeah, you call Lady Fantastic. I think a lot of people had this theory. So congratulations, you were right. You were really right. Day was okay. It doesn't sound too happy, to be honest. There's some discussion already going on in chat. Only have to see if I can catch up with it. Let me just get my setup stuff done. Kind of. So how this will work is I will show you a timer somewhere on the screen, and with the help of the mighty timer, it is then that let me just see. Why is this so weird? I don't know. Probably because reasons. Anything other important here? Probably not. Okay. Let me see, where's Mr. Script? Here it is. Need this here. I need the count. Yeah, the count up script is actually right. So I would reset it. Something like this, and then yeah. So maybe I could find a better place for the script, but for the script for the countdown, but should work. Yeah, a lot of people insinuated it could be a map from Idiot Alone. Yeah, I know it was definitely a theory I read, came across more often, but I know some people in chat called this a while back ago. So that is pretty nice that you got that one right. But yeah, as said, I need to set myself up here very fast. I hope that will work. That's always my biggest concern. How did you people like the episode so far? I assume most people have seen it. I've also seen it this morning. As you probably have noticed, I streamed 8 hours already, so it's just there was that. Yeah, of course. As always, stuff here doesn't work initially. Of course. Hope it works any moment. So yeah, what I will do is I press on the play button, and then I hope that Mr. Timer there will do his magic and count up, and you can synchronize with me. There is always this what happened last time thing. I will skip that. Absolutely loving the Numenor they presented. Oh, that's really good to see. I also liked how they depicted Numenor. It looked really good. It was quite a change of pace. I really enjoyed it. Okay, considering like my stream tomorrow, I felt like a lot of people were far more negative towards it. Or was it just the pace got better, but still was okayish? Was also like the impression I got to date was more like, okay. Very curious how it now is on another watch. I'm just now curious. The matter with my thing here is. They still aren't doing any favors with their lines. I have to say the dialogue with Elendil was much better. So I felt like okay, that could work. You know what I mean? Let me just check something here really quick. I prepare now the stuff. Let me just see. Where is my fancy symbol here? Okay, so we start at 1 minute 14 as a result. Then the prologue is gone and we have the credits, if I'm not mistaken. We have the little send credits, as professionals call it. Professionals call it, wow. But you know what I mean. Let me... It's just some sound setting I need to fix right now. Then we are basically good to go. Okay, that should kind of work. So I will count down from 3 on go. We start. I already skipped the credits, so there's that. Any words before we start, chat? It's pretty fun to make your own dialogue. Corporation fiction. It's corporate fiction then, yeah. Bilbo Baggins, honestly, I'm most into the Hobbit storyline so far. The Numenoreans are foolish, but the Hobbits are just such fun. Yeah, I agree. Hobbits are pretty awesome. So also, like, leaving people behind and so on. Please repeat the time spent. 1 minute 14. So I stopped right after the what happened last time segment on Amazon Prime. Maybe should check out if my settings here are okay or not. And yeah, just want to check something really quick. Okay, nice. So yeah, 1 minute 14, 1 minute 15, something like that. just want to see. I want to activate the subtitles this time. Very curious to get some information. Did somebody look further into the thing Arondia said? He says Anin something. I said he begs like for forgiveness. I think it's not forgive me because it doesn't fit word-wise. Forgive me. Oh no. Forgive me would be nin or something like that. So ni I think is the word for it. I'm not sure how it works in Quenya. Is it a particle? Don't ask me. Yeah, I think you just add something to the end of the word. Yeah, separate would be ni. But is it its own word? Could also be its own word, but it seems to be Quenya. And it has something to do with forgiveness, but I think it's a bit more complicated than just forgive me as he phrases it. Yeah, the Hobbit culture seems well thought out and interesting. It's a small Hobbit caravan packing a Maya spirit for firepower or carrying power. Giving ICBM to a squirrel. Wow. But yeah, chat. I'm sorry, I'm a bit slow in my mind. It was a really long day for me. So yeah, I would say, shall we start, chat? Yeah, exactly. The singular for Vala is just without the R at the end. So plural Vala, plural would be Valar. Valar. Maya, Mayar. The R is not silent at the end, but it's sometimes difficult and confusing. Istar, Istari also exists. Stuff like this. Tele, Tereri, Noldo, Noldor, Vanya, Vanyar, and so on. In case of the Silmaril, it's Silmarillion, interestingly. So there are all kinds of weird ways to form a plural. It's just fascinating. Let's party Harfoot style. Okay, I take this as Chris, come on, we don't have all day, get going. Let me see. So I repeat it again for people maybe who just joined a moment ago. We started 1 minute and 18 right after playing the what is it called? Stuff. Right after the credits, we skipped the what happened last time section on Amazon Prime. Silmarillion. I like that. That is a Gollum plural. I like that a lot. But yeah, okay. We said I should get going, so we try to do this. Of course, I closed the script program. Here it is again. Okay, so I count down from 3, and we start on go, right? So let me see. There's a timer. Does the timer? Yeah, it is on screen. Awesome. Okay. So we start in 3, 2, 1, go. Now the intro starts and we see the sand thing here. I've seen like a video of somebody making this, like it's basically a plate with a lot of swinging. It's not a magnet, it seems, but it has to do with acoustic vibration, if that makes sense. I'm not sure if it is possible to form like a tree like this, but maybe. Some of this is edited because it doesn't make the sand flow. But yet, some assume it's maybe like in some scenes it becomes like stars. Maybe it has to do with the Aino Lindale, because it's like the vibration, the swinging the music just forms the matter and shapes something. And it's for sure somewhere making of video of that. I'm not sure. Okay, now for me the show starts. And we come to the scene. We've seen the trailer of before, this weird tent style thing. Now found out it's like, I don't know. You could argue, does it make sense what the orcs are doing? How did the elves not see this? But I don't know. Maybe we don't know where this is exactly and how long Arondir now has been there already. I guess this is his early time there, but I like a classic hens out of cages shot. Always scary. The orc dialects definitely reminiscent of the orcs are very friendly to each other. The orc style, how they talk, could be out of Shadow of Mordor. I should say for the Bright Master or something like this, but I like how the names, the orc name seems to be a Raz with a V and a TH at the end. It says, "Oh no, you are here too," and he sees the other guy and says, "Oh no, my elven companions are here." And they think, "Oh no, you are also here. They got you as well." That's really unfortunate, because we need somebody to look out that looks for us, calls help. This guy gets a good whipping. It's just seems like not a fun time there. Halbrand always has a good time. Let her eat. Here in the background you see the green bow of Returnal. Maybe even multiple of them. But you saw it then on the front. I like that detail. It's mentioned in the Silmarillion. It's like a little twig you put on the, what do you call it, prow of your ship. It symbolizes the friendship to Osse and Uinen. Pretty cool that this detail is here on the ship. Shipped so far, pretty good. So I'm pretty sold on Elendil so far. And he has Galadriel's dagger. You have the theory when we discussed this this morning, from my perspective, that these towers that now ignited, it is like a system saying to the other towers that see this one, okay, there's a ship coming. And we know that Gondor later also has a signal fire system that they use. Maybe they imply that this is inspired by this. Could imagine. Maybe they have a system that is to what you call it, to take out the fire again is easy, and to make it like, I don't know what device they might have for that, but it must be, else it would be, I guess, problematic. This is maybe Orome with the horses. Or maybe some king that was known for horses. Numenor. Looks pretty cool though, I have to admit. Like, all the stuff here, pretty nice. Then we see the palace, so it really seems like Oromena and Armenilos are fused together into one. They don't mention it. I'm not sure. I think I looked it up and I didn't find it. So Armenilos and Romena are not mentioned in Lord of the Rings itself. So they probably don't have the rights to use the names, which is unfortunate. They are not men like you. Yeah, why? This scene here is now very interesting. Like, they play again on the Sauron theme here quite a bit. Of course, he looks into the smithy, because Sauron was the Maya of Aule once, before he betrayed the Valar and became the Maya of Morgoth, and he knows how to craft things. Little bell there, we saw the white tree, Senate. Chancellor. I like that. That scene I found kind of cool. He looks at it. Wait a moment. Is that an elf? What is going on? Is it Christmas already? Let's go. That is interesting. Okay, generations, he said. The elviest of elves. A small disconnect issue here. Okay, so he is a Sylvan, so he is related to the Sindar, but he's not a Sindar. Tell me about this captain. This line was annoying for me. Like, the line where Galadriel basically says, well, she asks, who is this guy? I know they do this for exposition reasons, but Miriel should know who Elendil is. I mean, they are related. That I didn't like. Yeah, they were on the command of Gil-galad, which is very strange. Very curious what this female voice whispering has to do with Isildur. Why does he hear like a voice? Maybe that was Uinen or so? I don't know. Maybe it was Galadriel. Very curious what that was. Yeah, the captain is very reminiscent of a wrestler. And very funny. Not him though. He's a sailmaster? think he is. The C's always true or so would be probably the better thing. Yeah, the ship looks pretty cool, I agree on that. Female companionship, maybe. This scene was quite funny. Don't be like your brother. So, Anarion confirmed. What are you doing here? Yeah, that's an interesting point. I like this passage though. The question about the origin of the name. That is, I assume Narsil. I didn't see any moons on the sword. He's always right. Wow. So now we go to the Southlands and we have this tree here. And yeah, as said, Arondir is, I think it was in background information. I think you can even show, it's even shown here in the background. Maybe not. Now it's introduced that the orcs start smoking when they're in the sun. They start smoking, but you know what I mean. Smoke emits from them. They don't like the sun at all. We see the smoke here is from these sulfur things. Yeah. This is introduced. Orcs, sunlight, no friends. But yeah, if the sword of Elendil is Narsil, like it's originally first forged in the first age by the dwarven smith Telchar, and somehow got from, I assume, Thingol's weapon chamber to Numenor. Maybe the Edain was a gift to the Edain or so, and took it with him. No. Halbrand is sus, yeah. For sure he is. I don't know. I don't find the line "the sea cannot commit treason" too bad, to be honest. Breathing heavily. That's how you pronounce it. Ration. It's not all elves. A lot of labor force is also human. And it kind of makes sense for them to that they have labor force to work them during day. I kind of find this fitting. Not sure why it's so absurd that it is like this. They use the chains. They're much more, and still they can be out in the daylight to some degree. I think they exaggerated a bit too much with. I don't think it's a small group of orcs, to be honest. It's just like, so far we noticed that I think there are 5 elves, now 4. I think it's kind of interesting that, like, it's an interesting thing because he really like, Sylvan elves have a much closer connection to nature than, for example, Noldor elves, and so for him it's not that great to cut down a tree. But maybe he gets some information of the space that surrounds them, and maybe to, like, people understand that for an elf it is for an elf it's definitely a thing that is very unfortunate. Like nothing they really want to do, like cutting down a tree. And so maybe they show the other prisoners there that and you see it's not a huge labor force that they have there. Where we saw in the pit at least 6 or 7, and then in this gigantic trench it was full of orcs. Like there was one shot where we saw like, I know, 30 orcs or so, and they were just a bunch of elves, maybe more. And there are walks and so on. I can definitely believe that it works, especially if the elves have no weapons. I have to say I like this line. I don't like that Galadriel just threatens him with a dagger. He speaks Quenya like that. Quenya's very dominant in comparison to Sindarin here. Water Days right. Did you say right? So this is the first time now we see Galadriel maybe having a good time in this show. But this basically, like, this interaction was really needed with Galadriel, and like he needs a character like Elendil where she can maybe make some character progression with. Yeah, it could be really the Villages of Fordham or whatever it's called. Picture's really clean. The slow motion though makes it really it's a bit too long, in my opinion. So he needs this guild crest. That's crest is the word I was looking for. I think he got some pocket money. Considering that they will plunder more villages, they probably can increase their labor force soon enough. They think. They got quite a bit of pocket money for that, I assume. He calls him low man. And here you can see that he stole the crest from his shoulder. Like, if you look very closely, you definitely see that he distracted him and stole it. Also, we discussed that the codes are not really burning, but could have been for safety reasons in this set. They don't want to do too much with open fire if not needed. Yeah, he needs it to being accepted as a smith. That's why he steals it. I find it quite nice though that he at least hints at. Maybe unfortunate scene, to be honest. I would have not have drawn my dagger when you bonk. And he's arrested. Yeah, I think they definitely play with this Maiar thing. Not sure if it's hinted if Elendil's wife might be dead. Could be. I'm not sure. Probably have to watch again. Yeah, it's easy to miss with the crest thing. Yeah, the Hall of Elros. It's a funny reference because Elros is the twin brother of Elrond. It's kind of funny that Elrond later also has like records in Rivendell. So they portrayed like his brother was kind of similar. Yeah, that's a very interesting line. So they talk about Tar Palantir, and he in the books also was like the last king. That makes sense. That was faithful, kind of, and he did not get, I don't know, overthrown though. The people just endured him for the time, but I guess it works. Now here we see it clearly, but in the other shots, the symbol is prolonged. The mountain inside the U. Plan B. So now they learn about that the successor does things. Yeah, I like how they definitely agree with you, Spielkalb, that how they portrayed the different. I just read your message, right? In this, I like how they pointed out the different lifespans of the elves without talking about it. Show, not tell. Well done. Yeah, there's some cool stuff in this episode as well. I would say the Galadriel dialogue in this episode was much better compared to previously. Not perfect, but step in the right direction. You also see Largo in this crowd. He's limping a bit. Nobody walks alone as long as you are not left behind. Yeah, very hard to say how the relationship between the characters. I assume Adar is maybe a Sauron cultist in some way. Yeah, it's really strange with Elendil. Definitely didn't like it as much, especially that Miriel doesn't know him. He's like a distant cousin of her. That's common sense. So I like this dialogue a little bit because it establishes some background information that Poppy. It seems like he doesn't like Malva. In the subtitle it says Uptrail. Hobbits are good at hiding. It's his speech, now I get it. Strange girl. Maybe an error in the subtitles, yeah, quite possible. It's the second time we see like his speech is prepared. Isn't that interesting? Yeah, I also like the scene how they help. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. I'm heading off trail for some adventures. Yeah, have fun on your adventures, Lady Fantastic. Nice having you here in chat. Yeah, that were the parents, I assume, of Poppy. That I assume the ancestors, parents, whatever, of Sadok. But kind of an interesting tradition to go through the memory, like bring back the memory of those who passed away like this. Pretty cool. And also gives us some background information. Like it seems like Poppy potentially lost her parents in this landslide. Bees. Or if two. And now the stranger learns that paper is not compatible with fire. And his dexterity value is not that high. So far. The B part didn't land for me, kind of messed up. Yeah, I guess it was just I like that they don't go for consistently jokes, and I think it was just, I don't know, a little light-hearted joke there. For me, it kind of worked out. Yeah, I'm very curious why people discuss this leave behind part so much. Also for Galadriel, that was a huge topic. But there's a situation where leaving somebody behind is a terrible decision, but still one that might guarantee you survive. A Arendil reference. He blocks this off completely. Kellermark is an interesting detail because the name of Mary is Kalimak. It's spelled differently here and slightly different. It's now we're back to Numenor. I don't know, it's to post cap. I like how his face of Elendil. What? You what, mate? Slightly more than nothing. I'm very curious about Anarion. Clicking on here for a moment, I thought you had still the same. No, it's not the same stream. We started again. Now you can see that Isildur in the background is getting up and is leaving. I don't know what's going on with this weird play here, but let's say it's decently interesting. Is this Wien in this statue? I assume, right? Pretty cool. Clay puppets taken from Game of Thrones. Okay, that's a good point. I'm not too familiar with Game of Thrones, so. For sure, the reputation of the Lords Andunir might have decreased over time. That's a good theory by maybe she knows him and she just pretends he doesn't know. Because she has to publicly give the impression she's not an elf friend as well. Because her father is an elf friend. Faithful. And she has to pretend not to be one of them. And it's definitely some subtle context, I agree there. I kind of think, though, that Galadriel's bloodline can't be redeemed, and her direct... there's nothing to redeem about Galadriel's direct family, but in the broader sense, her bloodline going to Feanor, I think that can't be redeemed. Yeah, we discussed that the stair is spiraling in the wrong direction. Should be the other way to protect, basically. At least in a fortress, that would be the case. So you can't use your right hand probably in this when you go up. It's defend easier for the purple people standing up. Maybe there's some prophecy or something that the elves might come, and then maybe it goes downhill for Numenor or so. But yeah, this kind of gives us the implication of things. This seems like Poppy would... You see, she's still there, that she would maybe also if how to phrase it? She would not leave her friend alone and would just continue staying with them, also falling behind. Yeah, maybe he has information from the Palantir. You're right. That's a really good series, CPP. I like that. Maybe he has used the Palantir and seen stuff. The sister looks very, very reminiscent. I'm very curious who the sister is. It's Dilly Brandyfoot is her name. I'm not sure how her first name is pronounced. But she has some she's very reminiscent of Peter Jackson's daughter in a way. You know what I mean? And now we have the they break from prison scene. Very strong contrast to the Hobbit stuff. Even though the Hobbit stuff was also kind of intense and important. Also here we see the orcs starting to smoke as soon as they're exposed to the sunlight. But yeah, it's a very different intensity in the Hobbit section compared to here. We have this physical fighting, and in the other you have this struggling due to cultural circumstances. Here we have the scene from the first teaser. And yeah, it was exactly as I think Matt also predicted this, Nerd of the Rings, that she would destroy this. Definitely can see that. And now we see it come to be. We noticed that like it doesn't work when you just have nothing to counter the hit. We discussed this also this morning. But we have a scene where we see that they put a tool under the chain. Well, poor. She was an elf, by the way. He's also an elf. He has pointy ears. You see it in the scene for a moment. There were 2 additional elves. The others seemed to be humans. Or men, as Tolkien would call it. They also use the word human a few times here in this Free Yourself. I have to say the walk is very scary. Even though it looks kind of cute. And here you see he had a tool below the chain to make it the cutting through work. Nicky the Hedgehog. And yeah, you see the dude with a bow in the background. I think he has a bow. And now the other arrow comes from the other direction, interestingly. See? It's strange though that they speak not Sindarin but Quenya. I wouldn't say it's garbage. You are really... Could argue we have seen better CGI, but it was not garbage. And that was Hadar. Sadly, we don't see his face. Release the hound, not hounds, just one hound. I know. He looked kind of cute, but yeah, it looked a bit cartoony. I agree on that. Like he has the eyes are very big of it, and so if something has big eyes, it starts looking more cute. So yeah, I know what you mean. Like the design is strange. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should stop the timer now because we're in the credit scene. Let me just see, where do I have the timer stop thing? Here it is. So that was episode number 3. There's some details I would like to look again. There was one detail I found strange. Like, what's a bit strange in this scene is if we go back to where the what is his name? Revion. However, the watch warden, the friend of Arondir, who tries to escape, when he climbs up, you see that this pit isn't that big, you know, and Arondir's kind of staying close to the orcs, and the orcs were already behind Arondir. And how is he able, if the orcs are basically close to him already, how is he able to get a spear and throw it at the warg? Like, why are the orcs not hindering him throwing a spear like that? I find that a bit unusual, I have to admit. The dying actor was Sean Bean in disguise. I assume that they were shot by orcs. They probably wear this. Like, it seems like as soon as they wear a bit of protection, it works out for them. But they have to protect themselves against the sun. They don't like being out in the sun, but it's not impossible for the orcs. There's also a forest in the background, so it also kind of works. Yeah, of course, it might be dangerous to give, but the orcs don't look like they are too concerned with their safety in any shape or form. And on the other side, it seems there were much more orcs there and it was too dangerous to dare. Like there existed slave labor previous. They can kill an orc with it for sure, maybe two. But what's happening to the person when he gets overwhelmed? Like maybe too high a risk to take at times. Of course, on the other side, they can't treat their prisoners too bad, because when being imprisoned is worse than, I don't know, then like the chances of breaking out and getting free and getting killed has to be like less more scary than staying in the camp and working, if that makes sense. Especially in this environment for the orcs, because they can't be out at sunlight as easily as their slave workers can do. So they have to be very careful with it. But as said, if we look at the pit, it never looked like there were a lot of them there. Like just a few. It seems like there were almost more orcs there than slaves. Yeah, it's a film trope that you die by that, but like, shall we? Then we also like criticize every film that came out in the last, or fantasy film. Almost every fantasy film, one would say, came out in the last decades. It's not too uncommon to see this, even though, yeah, it's of course a bit unrealistic. I think the setup for the camp, I agree, it doesn't make the most sense in all the details, but I think people are also exaggerating a little bit here and there. No, it's not all of them are elves, only a few of them are. The tunnels might have been dug by the orcs themselves, because this is now a trench, not a tunnel. But it's of course possible that they also help out. But I had felt like the hands, like if you look at the hands of these orcs in this camp and look at the let me just see if this works. You see, it's different from the orcs that attacked Bronwyn. So I assume, like, the orcs have normal hands. They don't have this weird claw that we saw. So my theory with this would be that the orcs with these claws, they have these claws for digging these tunnels. They're basically a special breed of orcs that is for digging tunnels. And the other orcs here, they're not digging the tunnels. So they don't have these hands, if that makes sense. So James, you have not seen the Hobbit films? Yeah, the only elves we saw were Arondir, his friend, the Watchwarden, and the woman and the other dude. So my question is, could another Maya, like, say, a Balrog, take a fair form the way Sauron is supposed to? In theory, yes. We don't know exactly how the nature of the Balrogs. Very hard to tell. Yeah, a specialized breed of mole orcs. Because let me just. I don't have my setup here. Maybe it takes me a moment to try to getting the stuff here back on screen. Let me just check out for a moment. Where do I need to be? Here, I think. Just have to be careful. Let me just see if I find the scene really quick. But yeah, I would suggest that these might be special orcs, if that makes sense. It really tried in the background to find the scene, in case you wonder what is he doing. It's really hard to find the fitting scene for that. Where was it? Somewhere in the middle, right? Really hard to find like a screenshot with both hands visible. I found one. That took a moment. Let me just see to bring this somehow to the screen here. Yeah, here you see his, for example, this guy's hands, and you see he doesn't have this as this weird claw as the other orc. So I assume he's not a orc for tunnel digging. He has different tasks, and I would imagine. Oh, when doing this, I have to seek the other scene now. Let me just see, but let me just mark it here. Where did we see this? Episode 2, was it, right? Slowly trying to find the frame. But yeah, here you see this hand is different from the hand we just saw. I play it here further. Let me just see if I can show it to you. There's a close-up of the hand in a moment. I'm not sure if there's maybe something attached to his hand and it's not his actual hand. I don't know, but the hand definitely looks a bit different in comparison. Yeah, why they were on the ship, I also don't understand, to be honest. Some of the Southlanders. They were catching red herrings, probably. The question is, why does Sauron need to be introduced to Galadriel and Numenor? Like, that makes, for me, no sense. Like, Galadriel only notices him later in Eregion or so, in some versions. It's really strange. Also, Timbo Took is here. Welcome, nice to see you. I don't think they've made me care enough about this Galadriel yet to enjoy a slow motion ride where she has this ultimate happiness. It's like, I don't care. You've been awful to every single person. Yeah, Timbo, I agree. It was a bit overstaying its welcome for one. But I think what they want to show is that grumpy Galadriel now gets a bit less grumpy and is for a time happy for a moment. I hope from this point Galadriel maybe makes a bit of progress into becoming more, let's say, less savage. But yeah, I definitely see what you mean, Timbo. I agree. Also, welcome, nice to see you. In case people don't know Timbo Took, he's basically the Bob Ross of Middle Earth. Very funny. Pretty awesome. So let me check out his channel. Girly farm series from the 50s. Only in color. Yeah, I think that was the biggest part of the show here, seeing it, that we like the relationship with like Galadriel was in desperate need of a character like Elendil she can interact with. Like, that was so needed for her and her story. She really needed this character like Elendil, and now she can start some character development. Like, it was not possible really before because like a counterpart to Galadriel was kind of missing. Halbrand is too similar to Galadriel in many ways, so that doesn't really work too well. In my opinion. I don't find the Galadriel scene now. I'm sad. Oh, it was just before. Okay, I think I found it. Today I have no luck with just randomly hitting... oh no, I randomly skipped it. Too zoomed out. This was also contender for the thumbnail image, by the way. But yeah, I agree with Timbo there. I also really liked the relationship with Elendil, and from this position, I think she can grow as a character a little bit, and maybe becomes more likable over time, so that we care a bit more for. I think they really did themselves a disservice, and yeah, it's with how they portray. Basically, for Galadriel, this is now episode 1, basically, for her storyline. All the stuff before was basically always nonsensical. She had very little opportunity for character development. And now here in Numenor, it slowly starts. Very curious where they develop her, but I would have, in my opinion, they should have just sent her on a diplomatic mission to Numenor and then maybe have the ship attacked, and if they want to have the sea wreck thing, and maybe make Halbrand a sailor, a stowaway or whatever on this ship, so he also gets somehow to Numenor, and then they could have reached this point here in the story earlier. I think maybe even if you don't make it reach earlier, then don't put Galadriel in the first 2 episodes. Like, all the stuff before is kind of a waste of time, in my opinion, with her. It looks cool, some cool pictures, some cool moments, I would at least say that, but overall, just for the development of this character, they really made it tough for people to like Galadriel, I think. They went a bit too overboard with it, in my opinion. I'm very curious what they will do with Sauron in this thing here. Nori turns to be out Sauron. That would be funny. And the problem is, of course, like, I think the problem with all of this, with all of the Galadriel problems, lie within that they want to make her the main character. And some people say Galadriel is a Mary Sue. That is true in her abilities, but in a way that it fits Galadriel, because she's literally, according to Tolkien, the greatest elf among the elves, besides maybe Feanor, only that she was wiser than him, which isn't that difficult, as I said in the in my review, I think. Yeah, Arondir, I like him also quite a bit. I think they will set up the forging process maybe a bit more independent from Galadriel. Like I said, in The Lord of the Rings, Galadriel is not mentioned in the context of Eregion. That is material from the Unfinished Tales and the Silmarillion, which the showrunners have no access to. Or very limited access, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure if they can legally even depict this Galadriel being in Eregion. I think because they can't, they had to find a different place for her, and that is Numenor, and her fighting as a commander the armies in the north or so, against orcs and threats, and now in the south, in Mordor. Very interesting idea, I guess, with considering the stuff, but of course we would have wished for them doing stuff differently here. But if you put Galadriel into, like, a main character, Galadriel is not a Mary Sue when it comes, like, she's good at fighting and good at doing stuff, but she's not good at diplomacy. She's not good at making friends. Like, there are some things where you see Galadriel's character is lacking a lot. She's not good at reading the situations and know what is to be said. Like, just imagine Elrond. Like, you have to basically combine Elrond and Galadriel into one person. Then you would have a Mary Sue. But I would feel that this is not the case for her, and because she is, like, you can have this Mary Sue stuff for side characters, but you can't have this for that well for main characters like Galadriel. And so she needs to start with weaknesses. Like, her weakness is definitely, let's call it the diplomacy, the how to understand the situation, to do wise things, which is in a lot of contrast to how we know Galadriel from the Third Age. But that is definitely a detail you noted. Like, she's not a true Mary Sue in this regard, because when she would be a Mary Sue, she would also be good at diplomacy, at making friends, at judging the situation right. Instead, she brings herself a lot into trouble. So I would disagree that she is a Mary Sue in this regard. In case people wondering, Mary Sue is like the filmic term for female character that is good at everything. Like Rey in Star Wars is pretty much a Mary Sue, I would argue. Like, she has very little character development except realizing who she is. But besides this, she can do basically everything, and her ideas are usually not that terrible. Yeah, why they have to create this fast is hard to tell. Well, she's definitely not good at diplomacy so far, lol. Yeah, she's not good at everything. They like, if she were like, people don't like Galadriel because she gets good at everything. She don't like people don't like her because she is very flawed, too savage. And this makes it maybe a bit problematic because you would imagine these eternal elven beings to be a bit different. But you have also to see it like this: we never had a lead character in a film that was an elf. We had Legolas, but Legolas was not a lead character. He was, let's say, a sidekick of the Fellowship. He was one of the Fellowship, but he was not leading. Like, when there was always a character around him that was important. Sure, in a way, Legolas also is a lead character, but you know what I mean, I think. He was not Aragorn. He was not doing the calls. He was always in the Fellowship and do stuff, basically. And this is now different. Now we have an elven character that has to carry that. And from the description of Tolkien, of some of the later descriptions of Tolkien of Galadriel, she was basically perfect. She was like a walking half-god. Half-god, demigod. Basically that. She was kind of good at swimming, that is true. Yeah, she's really good at killing trolls. Like, that is her one strength. Like, if you are a troll, you are screwed. If you have to face Galadriel. But, yeah, I don't know. We haven't seen her fighting orcs. I would imagine she's really good at fighting. That's probably what they might go a bit here. Yeah, that's maybe true. Elves always are depicted in a very superior way. That's true. Yeah, that is true. She's acting as if an army is around the corner for her command, but she's all alone. Delusional in a way, yeah. Considering to the elves in the background, she is amazing at everything. They can't even, because the others are depicted in a way that they can't even tie their shoes. Yeah, exactly. That is true. So far we have not seen Galadriel shield surfing. Question to chat: if we would see Galadriel doing shield surfing, would people like that, or would people just as a stupid, like in a cheesy scene, as a reference to Lord of the Rings? Would people like that, or would people say, yeah, that's too that should not be in the show? Very curious about this. From the tone of this show, I have to admit it would not be fitting, because I feel it's a very serious show most of the time, and they bring in a joke or two in an episode, but that's it. It's not like consistent firework of one-liners and jokes so far. I hope it stays this way, to be honest. I would be down for that. Yeah, I can definitely see this. 2 words, sword, catapult. Yeah, that was a really weird scene. Like, I found it kind of funny, but... I keep the... yes, I hope they keep an elevated tone. I would agree on that. I would even say the density of jokes is even lower than in Lord of the Rings, like in Peter Jackson films so far. But it could, of course, be that there are more funny episodes in the future that are more lighthearted. Actually, the Nori arc has held all the light-hearted parts, which I think is a flaw. It's an interesting point. I could imagine that the whole Half-Foot part is only there because else the show would be too grim, if that makes sense. But maybe they should spread it out. I could imagine that the Elrond and Durin parts also are a bit more light-hearted when they need to be. So maybe they need this for the balance. In this episode, there was no Elrond and Durin at all. And in the teaser for the next episode, we see there will be more Durin next episode and Elrond action. Looking forward to that, to be honest. Did I hear the name Imra here referring to the other kid in the Numenorian boat? One of the kids is called Valandil. I remember that, which is also an interesting name in context of Isildur, because Valandil is the son of Isildur, right? So maybe it's a friend in this. If they would build it up like that, that he's basically like maybe there's a tragic accident or just in memory of his old friend from his boating times. He later calls his youngest son Valandil. Of course, there are also other characters that are called Valandil. I think was also a king and so on. So it's definitely a traditional name, but I found this detail interesting. I have to transition back here for a moment. Let me see. How does this even work, chat? I'm confused. Yeah, the actress is not named. That is strange. Woman Whispering, Isildur. And then, yeah, Valandil is the name of this black-haired person, friend of Isildur. One other name is Ontamno. Not sure if other names will appear here in this place. So no, so far I couldn't spot the other name here, skipping through the scenes again. Or Imrahil. Yeah, it was also cut from the Peter Jackson film. Where did it? I found it. 1736. It's on the beach boat scene. Ah, poor Imrahil. Yeah, yeah. I found it. After they shout, the sea is always right. Ontamo says, poor Imrahil. Now let me see if I can find it here, the scene. Well, I won't find it because it's really hard to find. Yeah, this scene. So Imrahil also appears. Nice catch. Yeah, they jump around a lot, but to be fair, they also have like a ton of characters they have to introduce in the show. So I can kind of understand why they're doing this. This is still set up. Like my biggest fear is that the first season will only be set up for everything, and then the interesting season might be season 2. And yeah, I don't know. It's then a very difficult start for a show. If, like the first season has so much setup and not too many interesting things, and they are so busy rushing back and forth between the scenes to just get all the plot lines going they want to tell. Maybe it's really a bit much. And run some water horses to defend his home. Yeah, that's true. So it was the horses were the idea of Gandalf, to be precise. I'm very curious how the relationship from Taramiriel is to her father and to the faithful, and how much she really knows. Maybe she is really just playing and acting strong in the public to just appear as like an not elf friend, but in truth she is also faithful and so on. But she knows she can't turn around the opinion of the public. Her father tried and failed with it, kind of like that. It's an interesting idea to portray her, I think. Yeah, for sure, it's a writing choice that they want to introduce. Maybe they need this for later seasons. We don't know how the later seasons will look. Very curious about this. But yeah, the next few episodes, I feel like though they really slowly have to get people more and more excited about the show. Because I don't know if people had to rate this show, let's maybe start. You can now see the massive amount of time difference. I would definitely give it a 6 out of 10 or something like that. I liked it for the most part. What are the people's ratings in chat? Just to give like an overview how people who saw the episodes now liked it. That makes sense. Of course, I know you have like 30 seconds delay, but I hope you can anticipate what I mean with posting that in chat. Maybe even more. The question is if Tarmiriel is bad at all. Like in the Silmarillion, she's not bad. She's like forced by the usurper, and in one version she marries him even on her own will. Maybe it stands within the conflict between Kingsman and Faithful as potential. Yeah, I agree. I definitely see potential in Miriel. 4 or 5 out of 10, okay. So yeah, so far the ratings, even though we only got a few, are pretty average. You also see the massive time delay that I have to deal with here when I'm talking to people. And you as well have to deal when talking to me. Eight episodes. So I assume when you hear this, the question was already answered. That's why I really prefer the Twitch stream, because there the time difference is only like 5 to 10 seconds. Much closer. In YouTube it feels like it's half a minute or more. 3 out of 10, 3 out of 10. So very mixed reviews, I feel like. Nobody gives this a 10 out of 10. 6 out of 10 by Timbo. Okay, that's exciting. So you're basically on my side. Yeah, the aerial shots and the landscape shots of Numenor were really cool. I really liked the shot of Numenor at night where Miriel goes upstairs. Forgot which scene that was. Let me just see if I can find the scene. In the meantime, I can't look away as I miss a scene here. This shot, like, I really like this one. Pretty cool shot. I'm very engaged with the show. Okay, awesome. I would say 5 of 10 overall. It's like a discount version of Lord of the Rings universe. That's a good way to put it. Oh, interesting. Mine would have been higher before this episode. The Numenor parts were very good, but the Harfoots brought it down for me. I have to say, I think some people really dislike or feel disconnected that the hobbits who care for each other would leave somebody behind. I can definitely see that. So we have spent 3 episodes on setup. Goodness, we need to get to the show. Yeah, I think episode 4 might be the first episode with less setup. No, I just thought about it. Episode 4 will also be a setup episode, because we haven't talked about the bad guys yet. We only have seen some orcs, and we now have the introduction of there's a character called Adar, which translates to father. 6 out of 10 by Tirza, nice. And the Adar thing is, in that regard, interesting, because you also need to set up this character. Then there is this Morgoth or Sauron priestess or whatever, Eminem. We haven't seen her yet, and she also needs a proper introduction. Who is this character? Who are the other characters accompanying her? What is she doing? What are her goals? Stuff like this also needs to slowly set up in the future. Then we have Sauron himself, who also needs maybe a little bit of setup at least. Then we have some forces like Pharazôn. We have only seen him talking 2 words or so in this show. He's a very important character for the late Númenórean arc, as you can imagine, and he definitely needs a little bit more setup. The whole setup in Moria isn't I think completed yet, though we know Durin, we know Disa, we know Durin the Third, so there is definitely that. But yeah, I feel like there will be that will be interesting to see. Yeah, good villains make a show, that's true. So we have to hope that the villains will be good, but we still have like a bunch of unknowns in this show that we have to further explore before we can even go into this. The landscapes are very inspiring. I give a 10 on those. I just don't have enough time to paint them all. Yeah, looking forward to some of your paintings. 7.5 episodes of setup. It could end like this. It would be really unfortunate, I feel. But I'm not sure what they are going to do in the next 4 seasons. I guess, yeah, we will see the war in it with the elves at some point. There might be some subplots they need to explore further. Then we have the aftermath of the war, and then we have the completion of the Númenórean arc, and then the last alliance is probably in the last season. You enjoy it more than you rate it? Maybe, yeah, but I just like talking about Tolkien, so of course I enjoy that. But I enjoyed the episode 2, I enjoyed more than this one here. It was a slight step down, even though there was a lot of stuff in episode 3 here that I liked, but also quite a bit that I disliked. I just hope that Galadriel gets going. I'm also like, I don't know, if I rate it, I'm usually rating relatively low stuff, relatively low, I would say. Like if you rate too high, I always like it when you can. If I give it 10 out of 10, then it really needs to be one of the best things people have seen in their lives, or in a decade. It has to be also maybe important for the art form itself. That's for me a 10 out of 10. And there are very few films I would rate this high. Yeah, I agree with JP. Episode 2 is the best so far, I would also say so. My mom has not watched Lord of the Rings. Still clueless what this show is about. Yeah, I can imagine that you have no... What are they exactly doing with this show? Where are they going? Do you have this episode after episode of setuping, of having the setup for the show? Yeah, no episode is even close to a 10 out of 10 so far. I agree on that. But I feel like there are very little shows or films I would rate this high. Like Once Upon a Time in the West, I would rate maybe 10 out of 10. Or The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly maybe. Depending on mood. Citizen Kane, I think, can be easily argued a 10 out of 10 movie, even though it's not that fun to watch. I think it's in this regard a strange film, but it's film historically a very important one. I don't know, from 1927, Sunrise, A Song of Two Humans, I would rate 10 out of 10. Or, personally, I really also liked Fritz Lang's Metropolis. Also 1927, interestingly, same year. Was a good year for film, it seems. Stuff like that. Just from the filming history. I'm not even sure if I would rate Blade Runner 10 out of 10. Maybe it's just a very high 9. But I guess it's more a 10. The Godfather, for example, would be a 10, yeah. I would maybe even argue Matrix 1 was a 10 out of 10. It's really difficult for me to rate the Lord of the Rings films. Are they 10 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 films? Really hard to tell. Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa also definitely deserves a 10 out of 10 rating. Oh, the General Grievous is back. Welcome. Nosferatu is film historically a very important film because it was kind of one of the very first horror spooky films, if you want to call it like this. And it's a really good film, but I feel like Murnau, now I just pronounced it Elvish. Murnau definitely increases his art with his follow-up films quite a bit. I feel like this film is very like if I give, for example, what is it called? The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari, I think it's called in English. Then I would say, this film is 2 years older than the film of is 2 years older than Nosferatu. I would say if that is a 10, then Nosferatu is only maybe a 9 in the context of silent film of this very early area. But in a way, because it is such an important film and has established so many genre-defining shots and ideas, that it is probably also a 10 out of 10, I guess. But I feel like Nosferatu is a bit weaker than, for example, Caligari or so. No, Matrix is not a 10 not a 10. It's a tough argument, I agree. But I would rate it pretty high because Matrix had a very huge influence on how action films are filmed from this point on. Like the amount of reference to the slow motion, like etc. I felt like there were not many films that tried to mimic Matrix storyline in a way, but I also thought some of the ideas of this line was very interesting. Ghostbusters, of course. That's some nostalgia film. It's still a good and fun film, but I watched it, for example, as a kid, and so there are some films that always have a place in my heart. What do you think of what's his name? Stanley Kubrick, his 2001 Space Odyssey. Whatever it's called in English. Like the German title is a bit different, I think. Maybe I think it's 2001. Yeah. That I would also rate 10 out of 10. Even though it's in parts a strange movie, it's a very fascinating film, in my opinion. Yeah, Seven Samurai might be the most influential. He also did what was the name? Hidden Fortress, Forbidden Fortress. Okay, you thought Shining was better. I think it kind of was, even though it was quite different from the book, but it's also a masterpiece. Like, we don't have to I'm a science fiction fan, as a result. I like science fiction. So I also felt like 2001 was very defining. Like, it's one of the last big science fiction films we get. And then in the 70s, science fiction was less present, and it came back with Star Wars then in the late 70s, like 1977 Star Wars, and then the science fiction boom started into the 80s, where we got some really fantastic films after that. But I'm not sure when 2001 came out, 1967 or 68 or 69, I think, right? Maybe somebody knows it out of his head in chat. And then after that, there was like there was some science fiction film after 2001, but I felt like it was a long period of silence when it comes to science fiction. As a result, I found that very interesting. Alien, I would also rate pretty high, the first one. Not sure if would you give Alien I think you kind of have to give Alien also a 10. I'm not sure though. I'm not in the. I wouldn't say it's a horror film, but it definitely has plays on some of the horror themes. I'm not too big of a horror film watcher, so my knowledge is not big enough to really judge that, in my opinion. But from a science fiction perspective, it was definitely a very different kind of science fiction film. Everything Middle Earth, welcome, nice to see you here. I'm struggling to get invested in the show. Well, I've streamed, let me see, 9 hours today or so. I feel pretty, what's it called, invested, but I can see this. Like, the show has for some people, it will be really tough sell the show, especially if you know the lore very well. The question is, did Alien? I mean, it for sure used some cliches as well, I guess, but maybe it also invented some. Maybe it's. I'm not sure. Maybe you are more familiar with films and the cliches you're talking about, Spielkalb. Would you say that maybe isn't it possible that Alien also made some of the cliches become the cliches, if that makes sense? What would you rate the new Dune movie? Oh, that's a tough one for me. It's definitely not a 10 for me. Though I really liked it, I have to admit. But I felt like it's a very hard to rate movie because it feels a bit rushed at places, in the sense of that they have so much story to put in these few films, and like not that much is happening in this film. It felt the first Dune film felt like also very setup heavy, and now the interesting stuff happens after it, which we have not seen yet. But still, from how it's filmed, visual style, and so on, it's in my opinion pretty good. I always struggle a bit to rate newer films in the context of older films. Like if 2001 or I don't know Blade Runner are 10 out of 10 films, then I would definitely rate it lower. I'm not even sure how I would rate Blade Runner 2049 in this context, because I really like Blade Runner 2049. Like, it was really an absolutely mind-blowing experience. I almost did not see it in cinema, but I went like on the last day or so. It was pretty cool. But yeah, how would I rate the Dune movie? Maybe I would say maybe it's an 8 going towards a 9 or so, if that makes sense. But I overall pretty liked it. I would definitely. I'm not sure. How did people in chat see the Blade Runner 2049 movie? How would you rate that film? Very curious about this, because I think it was definitely a worthy successor of the original Blade Runner. Also, absolutely loved the film. Who said it? Veritas said, I might get a lot of hate for it, but I like the new Blade Runner more than the old one. I can understand that, in my opinion. I think where the old Blade Runner shines is that the old Blade Runner established this this look. Like what the I think the in a way I would say 2049 is maybe the better rounder film experience in a way. Maybe we could I struggle a bit saying it's a better film, but it kind of is. But the difference is Blade Runner 2049 could like build on Blade Runner already, even though I feel like it expanded the style of the original Blade Runner quite a bit. I think the most powerful thing I slept in during the new Blade Runner. Okay, that's unfortunate. Either you were very tired or did you find the film very boring? I prefer the original, but I have no serious beef with 2049. I can see like the original film was what it made it so special is that it defined how cyberpunk looks in our minds until just now basically. Like you have this certain idea how if you read okay this is a film in the subgenre of cyberpunk how it looks, and it's only like there are only two ways to present cyberpunk. It's either the William Gibbs style or the Blade Runner style. Boring, nothing new. It kind of is nothing new, I agree, but I feel like it expands vastly upon what of the ideas of Blade Runner, and I would definitely agree, which is maybe more an argument going towards 9 out of 10 because it's really good at what it does, but it's nothing new in a way. How did you like the original Blade Runner Spielkalb? I would kill for a Neuromancer adaptation. Yeah, that would be interesting. Yeah, that is true, JP. That is probably the only downside when you make a sequel. You have to decide on what the first film let open for interpretation. The second film had to kind of answer, and that is unfortunate, I think. Of course, about how about Arrival? Also pretty good, I think. Is it the one from 1996, right? Or do you mean the Villeneuve film? Because we were talking about Dune, right? So it probably means the Villeneuve film. Ah, okay. Well, he is of course an insanely talented director, so his work is quite likable. But I'm not so invested into the genre. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I don't know. For me, Blade Runner is also like has a special place in my heart. Visual Annihilation. I think no, Annihilation I did not see. Ah, okay, so the new one. Have you talked about the Numenorian armor? Briefly, it was discussed in chat. Very interested in linguistic and science fiction. Okay, then I can definitely see that it's a very good combination for that. Like I made like maybe I post in because we just talk about science fiction. I made one video on my channel, which is, in my opinion, hardly underwatched. It's also about cyberpunk. Probably some of you have seen it. Made it when Cyberpunk the game came out. But it's about the genre of cyberpunk and it focuses more on the film side. And I need to make a second part because I wouldn't talk too much about William Gibson there. It becomes a bit short in this. But I had not the time to make the video even longer. I had to basically cut it there. Yeah, I can recommend this. We also talk a bit about silent film and film noir here and there. I think it was a pretty good video of mine. And in my research, I've basically found out that William Gibson and Ridley Scott had like something in common, that they both read the heavy metal magazine, and from this and some stories in it, it was inspired how their cyberpunk would look, and so their cyberpunk has a very distinct look for it. Though, of course, the way William Gibson portrays this is very different. So for the most part, I really thought the Numenorian armor looked pretty awesome in my book. Not sure how I think people were discussing if it's real or if it's just, I don't know, a lighter material that is painted. Let me just see. There was another scene, right? Really trying to find the scenes here. Skipping a bit forward. Where's OBS? Yeah, but we like the armor. Yeah, this watch party was very enjoyable. Yeah, glad you people liked it. Now we are just talking about other films after it. Yeah, he didn't want to get called, exactly. We talked about Gibson and not Mel Gibson. William Gibson, the writer of Neuromancer. So he was working on this novel Neuromancer, and then he went into cinema one day and saw Blade Runner. And I thought, oh, everything in Blade Runner is so similar to the book. I'm in the process of writing, and people will just think I completely copied it, but even though my work was developed in parallel, and we both had the same source for inspiration, which were the heavy metal magazine with these from the 70s, with these weird spin-off of cyberpunk fiction, and I don't know, The Long Tomorrow and stuff like that. And both Ridley Scott and William Gibson ended up like being inspired from it. And then William Gibson, I also think he changed or he reworked parts of his book a little bit because of this experience. And it kind of, as a result, feels a bit different from Blade Runner, or more different, because he wanted to establish his own style, I guess. That is how the story goes, right? Also, I really like Drew Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, but that is basically the book Blade Runner. Let's call it adapted. Like some people, I think Blade Runner is an interesting example because it's a terrible book adaptation, absolutely terrible in a way. When it comes to sticking to what is written in the book, it's terrible from this perspective. But it, of course, is a very interesting film nonetheless, and it captures some interesting idea from the book very well. But on the other side, it does like everything. Like if you, like the story in the book is not at all what you see in Blade Runner, and that is very fascinating. Okay, now we have a lot of overlap of different topics. Like Spielcup recommends something, and then the other talking about another film. And some are talking about Lord of the Rings and are excited for the armor. So yeah. Overall, I really liked the armor stuff, I have to admit. Numenor looked in general fantastic. I have very little complaints here how it looked. When it comes to the films, probably have to look into some of them. I think The Postman I did not see. Maybe I have to check how the movie poster looked. So maybe I have to look into it if you recommend it. How did people like? Maybe it's a more controversial film because I know, it's for me a very interesting film which I liked a lot, and that is Tenet from the one and only Christopher Nolan. I have to admit I like Christopher Nolan films, but I really like Tenet. Like for me, Tenet is also, I'm not sure if it's a 10 out of 10 film, but it's pretty close. I liked it. Like it really made click for me quite a bit. But I can understand that people thought it was okay or fun, but I don't know. I personally really liked Tenet. I thought it was a very brilliant film. I don't want to oversell, but worth watching for sure. You're talking about Postman, okay. Big fan of Tenet, nice. I mean, like I said, in general, I like just Christopher Nolan films. Fury Road also pretty fantastic. Had to watch several videos that night to understand it better. Yeah, I remember thinking about this film for like 2 weeks or so. I even got out a piece of paper and started to try to somehow put in all the timeline stuff to understand better what we see. And I kind of liked that. It was a fun experience. I would not do this if I would not have liked the film, I think. Also, I don't know, Inception I liked a lot. I even liked Interstellar. I think Interstellar was also a pretty brilliant film with a few flaws here and there, but overall also a film I greatly enjoyed. But as said, I like just the style of Christopher Nolan a lot. But yeah, it's kind of interesting to see. I liked Interstellar. Yeah, Interstellar was. I feel like it had such a tough topic to like from a physics standpoint, even though it's very inaccurate in many ways. Like how I don't know. There's some inaccuracies if you like. I always there was a time I studied physics, so I of course like stuff like that, and was always interested in this topic and space stuff. So from that standpoint, still the whole how in some ways the 4-dimensional view of space and time is portrayed. I think this film presented that idea very, very well. I found it very fascinating. I'm sick of everything with spaceships. Oh, Clockwork Orange is also that is a film I appreciate, but I don't like watching it. Like that was it's always a tough experience watching that film. Like it's a really intense film. Well, it has been fun, but I have to go. Yeah, we probably wrap up the stream in a moment. Yeah, there is people will definitely recommend it. But for example, they're on this planet with the black hole and how they portray time and other details like this, like how the ship just it's a bit if you know the physics behind it, it's a bit inaccurate in a way. But there are many things that are very accurate. Oh, Barry Lyndon, that is an interesting choice for a Kubrick film, I think. Because it's not like a classical choice for the favorite Kubrick film, I feel. I think it's either Clockwork Orange, 2001, maybe Full Metal Jacket, or The Shining, I guess. These are, I think, in the top list of Kubrick, very usually high positions. Did somebody bother? I have a very controversial opinion on this film, and I think I would not rate. I think it's, in my opinion, a film that can't be rated. Did anybody see Matrix 4 in chat? And I think most people will absolutely hate this film, but I find it's for me it's a really strange film, I think. Yeah, Barry Lyndon is great, don't get me wrong. Like, Kubrick was just pretty good at making films, it turns out. I saw 5 minutes and shut it off. Okay. It was too bizarre for me. You're talking about Matrix 4? Paul, now it's really the... oh, yeah. Thank you for clarifying. It is a bizarre film. I would say Matrix 4 is one of the most bizarre films I have ever seen, and it's mind-blowing. You know what's mind-blowing about Matrix 4? That if you know the Wachowskis and how they think and how they make films, what Matrix 4 was very predictable. That the film would turn out like this. Like, for me, I went into cinema and I was surprised that how I understand the Matrix trilogy and how I understand the filmmakers, the Wachowskis, I totally expected that they did this. And it blew my mind that they got funding for this. Like, this film has cost millions to make. How did they get any, like, it was so, like, it's a mind-blowing film. And I mean this in a kind of positive way. Even though it's a very strange. It was forgettable for me. For me, it's not a forgettable film. It's one of the most bizarre cinematic experiences I experienced in my life. I would definitely describe it like this. Yeah, Matrix 4 is difficult to converse with people because it like, this film is just, I think this film is the biggest middle finger to Hollywood put in a film that costs, I don't know what the budget of this film is, $100 million or so, I've ever seen. And like, this film has balls. But it's the problem with Matrix 4. It's also an audacity to pay to watch it in a way. But it's like the existence of this film is almost like art. You could maybe argue the film itself and its content less, but the existence of this film is kind of like a protest to Hollywood in such a big way. It's just mind blowing. Let me just look up what the budget of Matrix 4 was, just to appreciate a little bit more. I'm very curious. What did this film cost? At a budget of $190 million. I have to give shoutouts to Lana Wachowski for that. Like, I'm not sure how she pulled that off. Like, she just burned $190 million off Hollywood, put on screen the biggest middle finger to Hollywood in the history of cinema, maybe after Citizen Kane, kind of. Well, Citizen Kane is not too much directed towards Hollywood, but media. And then on top of that, it completely destroyed the Matrix franchise in one film. Like, and I think she did this on purpose. Like, it's mind-blowing. It's not like, I wanted to make a video about Matrix 4 on my channel, but I had not the time, and I really regret seeing that. You have always to see, like, the Matrix films, in my opinion, how I understand the creators of these films. They make strange films, but they are very experimental in it. And that I appreciate a lot. Like, a lot of films go with, let's call it, a standard theme, if that makes sense. But I think the Wachowskis sometimes try to get, I don't know, they make films that are very meta, if that makes sense. Like, they make films that always try to tell something. A story of Pulp Fiction, which is Pulp Fiction is also a fantastic film. I think that's, in my opinion, the best. Yeah, would I say it's the best? Yeah, I think it's the best Tarantino film. But yeah, Matrix in its way is such a weird film. The first film is the most standard film they made, and it's the most popular of the trilogy. And I think the second one starts to deconstruct film already, and is very meta in a way. Matrix 3 then tries to conclude it in a way that makes somewhat sense, but I can see that people dislike it. I mean, I'm also not sure how I like the third Matrix film. They are just very, very strange films. And Matrix 4 just takes the cake for the weirdest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, it's a fan fiction. Like, usually, like, you have to. It's very hard to explain, but the Matrix films, or the idea of the Matrix, like, there are many interpretations you can make out of this, but one of the ideas of the Wachowskis is basically a critique of Hollywood. Like, if you think about it, what a Matrix is, like, a Matrix is described in the film, the Matrix is described as a prison for your mind. And basically the idea is that it is a metaphor for film, if that makes sense. Like, if you go into the cinema and the film is very immersive, your mind is prisoned for the duration of the film, if that makes sense. And in this regard, and this I'm not making up, they explained this like they give rarely interviews, but there was a longer interview with them where they explained their intentions a little bit, and this was one part of it. And so, the film basically is highly deterministic, so it always happens, the same stuff happens in the film. You have these deterministic matrix that just is on a cycle and repeats itself with so on and so forth. Don't want to spoil Matrix too much here, but there is this you get in Matrix why it's repetitive, and it's same with a movie. You press play and it's always the same movie. It never suddenly is different in a way. And Matrix plays with this idea that there's at some point the movie gets different. There's this protagonist who can basically change the movie itself, if that makes sense. And they criticize it a bit because behind the Matrix there is this huge machinery, Hollywood basically, and they have a certain interest in this. So you can, and you see what I mean with Matrix is very meta. Like it has this, it's what you call this in German, we call it a Parabel. Yeah, parable, you call it in English as well. Wasn't there a different term for this in English? I don't know. What do I know? But yeah, and that is very fascinating stuff when you look at it like this. Trilogy in 4 parts, like Hitchhiker's Guide, yeah, basically. But yeah, and the topic of Matrix 4 was again Hollywood and remakes and current allegory in a way. But I think in English you also call the piece of literature also parable. I'm not sure. However, it was about remakes, and Matrix 4 in a way was the most remake film of remakes ever. Like it even included, like I've never seen a film that was, like somebody said, Asteroid TV said, reminded me of those fan fiction edits you see on YouTube. There was so much Matrix 1, 2, and 3 edited into this film. Like, it was the ultimate remake in a way. Because it consists out of the old films in big parts. That I found a very fascinating idea. Even though it's completely ridiculous, but it is a really strange thing. Yeah, maybe I make a video at some point when I have time, but after Rings of Power. I really have an interest in covering this film. You made me interested in Matrix, so give it a try. Don't expect too much of it. In a way, it's a terrible movie, but just think about what I just said, that it's a critique of Hollywood and just Lana Wachowski, what do you call it in English, flipping the bird towards Hollywood. Like, really just showing them the middle finger. Just see it like this. Matrix for watch party. If it is on, I would make a watch party if it's on. I mean, we could watch it. I could order the Blu-ray. I haven't done it yet. I wanted to do it because just in a way, I'm not sure if I should support the film because it's probably not what Lana Wachowski would want. But in a way, it's a very strange film. It's a very, very strange film. It's kind of cheesy at times. It consists out of a lot of parts of the other Matrix films. The beginning is just watch party on Twitch TV. Let me just, it's probably not on Amazon Prime, right? Let me just see here. Outside. But yeah, I could just get the film from buy it or whatever. No, it's certainly not included. But it's only €5 for 16 euros to buy. I would probably prefer buying the Blu-ray or anything. But yeah, we could maybe make a Matrix for watch party. It's a very, very strange film. Indeed. I can definitely tell that. Now we derived very far away from actual Lord of the Rings here, but it was kind of fun. But yeah, that was, like I said, it was a really bizarre experience seeing this film. And like I said, people maybe will watch it and dislike it greatly, but it kind of is strange. Like, what blows my mind the most is, how did Lana Wachowski get funding for this film? Like, I guess, yeah, I don't know. It's just, I think she got into the idea. Well, they basically said to Lana Wachowski, I think, make this film, or we find somebody else to make it. And then Lana Wachowski basically said, okay, I make it and ruin it for you. Okay, here, have 190 million. It's like the most mind-blowing thing I've ever experienced. But yeah, since we are now so far away from all the topic, we maybe come back to this Matrix 4 stuff. Maybe after the show here is done, because currently I'm just too busy to find much time here. I still hope the show gets a really good, like the Rings of Power really gets gets back on track, and maybe the ratings of the show get up a little bit in the upcoming episodes, and they finally make it click for some people. Yeah, much appreciated. Thank you that you I'm happy that you liked it, Asteroid TV. Also, yeah, I agree. I really like the armor design. I completely agree with Spielkalb there. Seemed like they put in some thought here. I still have it here available. One of the armors we see kind of works. I really like the scene where they rush to capture Halbrand. Probably won't find this scene. The scene. Where is it? No, is that too far? Yeah, this scene. I think this here in this shot, the armor looks pretty cool. Like, that looks pretty sick, I have to admit. Thank you, subbed. Then welcome to the people following this channel. Much appreciated. And next watch party. Yeah, it will be next Friday when the next episode is out. We have another watch party. I might watch in between episode 1, 2, and 3 again on Twitch, because I really want to do something on Twitch, and I don't know, maybe some people are interested in this as well. Not sure. As said, !Twitch should work here. Let me just follow me there, maybe check. I'm potentially not announcing it greatly, maybe only on Discord or so. But I would like to have some Twitch content. It's better than the Linden armor. Yeah, I would agree on that. Yeah, like all the stuff. Discord is, of course, everybody can join, but be nice. But yeah, chat was pretty nice today. It was a lot of fun discussing the show with you people. I would say I call it a day now, because I streamed like 10 hours today. That is, in my opinion, quite a bit. Yeah, Twitch is way better for streaming. I agree. Like, I also like Twitch more, but I did in the community tab on my channel, on the YouTube channel, I did a voting and asked if I should do these watch parties on Twitch or on YouTube, and people decided they want it on YouTube and they want the VOD on YouTube. So that is what people voted for. I would have preferred to make the watch party on Twitch and either upload the VOD to the YouTube channel, or upload it to the I have a stream archive channel for the Twitch streams, uploaded there, so my main channel is not cluttered with thousands of videos that I think only a small amount of my viewership wants to really see. Like investing 2 hours in watching me ramble over the stuff is probably, I think a watch party is better for live audience, and I guess it could have worked better on Twitch. But yeah, so far people decided to do this. Also, we tried the Twitch watch party feature with Fellowship of the Rings, the theatrical cut. The Fellowship of the Ring, not just mixed up Lord of the Rings and Fellowship of the Ring. Fellowship of the Ring we watched on Twitch, like before the show came out, and it was a lot of fun there, but yeah, I let people vote for where to stream the watch parties for Rings of Power, and they said YouTube. Unfortunate from my perspective, but if I don't mind streaming. Like, streaming on YouTube is also okayish, but I prefer streaming on Twitch. Yeah, maybe I make another poll, you're right, Spielkalb. Maybe asking, are people happy with the watch parties here? I would still offer doing them on Twitch. Like, for me, it's just 2 clicks in my in OBS to stream to Twitch. Yeah, unfortunate when you don't have Prime, of course. Oh, you managed to coordinate better. I hope the timer worked out for people. But in theory, it's just a timer. It should work, right? But of course, coordinating it and having it parallel, maybe sometimes your stream has like a small stutter, then you get behind and so on. It can be a hassle. Having this basically completely automated by Twitch is a very convenient feature, I would argue. Yeah, I think we will also watch party Two Towers and Return of the King after the show. It is possible to stream to Twitch and to YouTube, but not if you are an affiliate on Twitch. I decided to go for the affiliate stuff on Twitch, and as a result, my content on Twitch has to be Twitch exclusive for 24 hours, and I'm not allowed to stream on both platforms at the same time. If I would be not affiliate, I could do this. But my like, of course, as a creator, I also have this idea. It would be, of course, awesome to see that also the Twitch channel of mine, I wouldn't say become big, but decently decently big. So like, it's always bad to have, like, I don't want just like if I'm just on YouTube, I'm basically bound to Google with having like also a somewhat okayish working Twitch channel in the far future. Maybe I could make the argument that, okay, I have Twitch and I have YouTube also, so I have basically 2 companies I rely on. That's, in my opinion, if you manage to establish that, definitely a good thing. And on top of that, you also have this Twitch Prime feature that gives you basically a free sub for Twitch. If I can, especially during the show, if I can migrate migrate's the wrong word, but if I can bring some people who like to use Twitch to my Twitch channel, it could definitely be not bad as well, just from a business perspective. I would watch in any platform, to be honest. Yeah, I think for a lot of people they don't care, but I assume some people prefer YouTube. Maybe the YouTube app is better than the Twitch app on the device people are watching this here. Hard to tell what the reasoning. Some people simply don't like Twitch. Also a possibility, which is totally fine. And I don't want to split up people. So everything I stream on Twitch is also uploaded somewhere on YouTube. So people can at least do this. But I have to admit, I really enjoy the Twitch as a platform for live streaming a bit more than YouTube. I think YouTube is much better when it comes to VODs, but Twitch is better at streaming games and stuff. I feel like, especially when it comes to community building, the YouTube streaming experience is still a little bit behind. Like, just for community building and stuff like this. I think Twitch does a far better job here. Oh yeah, we on my channel I reached an overall view number of 10 million, which is pretty impressive. I did never expect in my life that 10 million people would watch my stuff, even though it's views, not unique views, but still very impressive. So much thank you for watching, basically, for all the views. That's pretty awesome. I hope that my channel grows a little bit. I have the bad feeling because currently my new content regarding the Rings of Power show is not kicking in as much, though I see a lot of views on my older videos currently. So the channel is doing pretty well currently, but I'm really a bit sad that for example, my review also did decently well, I have to admit. But I would really like to see some videos hit more than 10,000 views again in the future. That would be pretty great. Or maybe I would really like to push to 50k subscribers on my YouTube channel. But yeah, congratulations, thank you. I mean, I also put in quite a bit of work in the channel, so it's not like that, but it still surprises me that so many people watch my videos. Currently, the Who is Sauron and Who is Elrond videos are just really, really beloved by people. It seems like they get a lot of views. Keep doing what you're doing, it's quality work. Yeah, much appreciated. I often feel, though, that quality work on YouTube is not as much rewarded than quantity work, if that makes sense. Like, quantity with a bit of quality, or let's say shorter quality than longer quality. Maybe I should phrase it like that. Like, I feel like, of course, a long video with a lot of quality can be decently successful on YouTube, but I think you can be even more successful if you just make shorter videos that have a certain amount of quality as well, but you upload it just more frequently. And who is Sauron? Am I right that Nori is Sauron? Yeah, you might be onto something, Spielkalb. That would be the biggest surprise in the show ever. Yeah, that is also true. My view on the show is mostly positive. Though I have to admit, I also criticize the show quite a bit here and there. I wouldn't call 6 out of 10 too positive, right? Or 7 out of 10 is maybe a bit more positive, that's true though. But yeah, hating on the show for some people seems to be like a thing, which is fine, I guess, because if you don't like it, you don't like it, but like some people just go the extra mile. Yeah, much appreciated, Pumba70. But yeah, still, it doesn't like the problem is from my perspective always I see the other channels growing much faster, and it's not like I put less work into my channel in comparison. So the success gives basically says, yeah, the other guys were right and I was wrong with my approach of how I make videos on my channel. And that makes it for me a very tough balance at times to find out what to do. I try to avoid clickbaity titles, even though I sometimes also be a bit clickbaity here and there, because you definitely have to somehow convince people to click on your video. But to be fair, I never expect to be like a channel with a million subscribers, or even 500 or K or so. My lifetime goal is to get this channel to 100k subs at some point. And I know it could take many years. Like it's almost a bit unfortunate, I would say. That I'm still struggling to, like, currently I have so many views on my with Sauron video, but my subscriber count is not that high. It's okay, but I know channels that's that basically make more subscribers in a day than I make in a month. And they are not around since 2013, or when it comes to lore content, 2017. But it's sometimes, it's not their fault, of course, but I sometimes feel like, I don't know what it is, that people who watch my videos really hate to press the subscribe button, it seems. Yeah, actually, this episode turned my impression of the show down. I give it a lot of lenience, but they have to deliver a little better story-wise. Yeah, I agree on that. I still see the potential, though, and could change with next episode. I really hope they get this stuff going. Also, Sarang says, keep doing what you are doing, or what you like. And you are doing, I really like your channel and the effort you put in. Yeah, much appreciated. Like, the problem with my channel is at times the feedback on my videos is always very positive. And when I look at, I can see on my in the statistics of videos how long people watch. And I have like videos with an average view duration of 1.5 hours. And I always ask myself, I have like, I don't know, 1 million views on this video, or 100,000 of views on this video, and people watch it for like on average an hour or so. Who watches a video for an hour and says, yeah, pretty good video, next video, and people don't press the subscribe button? Like, I kind of feel, I never really, besides the end of the video where I say, hey, maybe press the subscribe button and the annoying bell. Besides it, I never really tried to push for that. And I find it really annoying when people in the middle of a video say, oh, by the way, maybe subscribe to the channel. But it seems like that is what you need to do to get this stuff going, or make shorter videos, and then people are more likely to still listen to it to the very end. You know what I mean? It's just kind of unfortunate. Oh, it comes from the Tolkien Untangled video. Yeah, that's also a channel. I'm not sure when Tolkien Untangled started, but I assume he's not as long around as I am. And he also is really impressive with his output. Like, I'm very curious how he produces videos. He also does a lot of long videos that are fairly well done, but he does them so frequently. Like, for me, producing a video that is half an hour, it's like, I don't know, a 20-minute videos is more than 40 hours work for me. Like, it's really a lot of work time that goes into these videos. Like the 3-hour Elrond video, I worked for months on this video. Like, I can't even count how many hours went into this video. It's just incomprehensible. Yeah, I would say Rainbow Dave, his style is really sticking out. Like, he's has an unusual style. But I feel like, is he doing this half free? Like, I feel like he might be freestyling his videos, and he's really good at freestyling. And I'm not as good at freestyling, so I struggle with the output here. Or another theory I have, YouTube just hates me. That's also a possibility. I really try to interact, especially in these streams. Like, I really enjoy interacting with chat and reading what people have to say. Really fun for me usually. That's also why I'm able to stream this long, because I really enjoy the streaming element of this and talking to the people who actually watch the videos and so on. Yeah, it can be really a bit thing. Like you have no, like, I don't know, if you make a video and you have low expectations, and the expectations, your low expectations are even, like, the video even underperforms considering low expectations, then this stings the most, I feel, as a content creator. When you think, okay, I just made a fantastic video, it's maybe one of the best videos I ever did, and then it gets 2,000 views, and think, oh, for my channel size, like if you make another example, I don't know why. Some people really enjoy these streams, it seems, and it's of course awesome. But making a stream like this, of course, there's a bit of preparation time sometimes, but it's basically a day of work making a stream like this that is several hours long. Like, the amount of content I produced, like last analysis stream was 8 hours long. Of course, the information density and quality is not as high as if I would have a scripted, well-researched video. But just to give you into perspective, to produce an 8-hour long video, I know it from the Elrond stuff, I'm occupied like almost a year. That's or half a year or something like that. Like, that is basically how long it took me to make all these Elrond videos. I started writing the first video, I think, in March 2021 for the Elrond stuff, and I'm still not done producing all the videos out of that. Just to give you an idea how much work it is to make videos like on this scale. Like, it's not worth making this video, even though the first 2 videos perform really well. But it's really frustrating then when you just from a creator perspective, if you look into stuff like performance of videos, like, let's say I make a scripted video. Let me see, what do we have here that is a bit unfortunate. Yeah, let's say the end of Angmar and the Angmar War video. It's a 21-minute video I worked on, like, quite a lot, and it's now almost slowly reaching 4K views. And it feels like I could make 2 streams and I would also get 4K views, if that makes sense. Like, from this perspective, it always feels like very, very frustrating, and I'm still not getting why some of the older videos are not seeing so many views. I'm just happy that my 7 Rings of Power and the Dwarves video got, like, slowly now reaching 10, 11K views, but yeah, it took quite some time to get there, and that always feels like unfortunate. Yeah, I think Patreon is very feasible, but I always get into the idea that YouTube is blocking German accent. That's your problem. That might be the case. Patreon is, I can totally understand why a lot of creators do this, and it would be smart for this channel as well, I feel. The problem with Patreon is a bit that it puts me on like a lot of pressure to release content, like on a just on a state of mind level, if that makes sense. Like, people then pay, I don't know, every month or whatever, and then they expect that you make content out of this, and you have to deliver on your promises. And it feels like maybe I could also ask what people want to see, but I prefer the style that it's my own decision what I make next, because then I work best and I can do production at my own pace. And I feel like having this additional layer of pressure on you is really a problem. When it comes to, for example, channel memberships here on this thing, I always see it like, if you subscribed, you don't just come first on my channel and press the membership button to just and then watch the first video. You have already watched quite a bunch of content, and then you may basically support the channel retrospectively. Like, okay, I enjoyed your channel, here I have a channel membership, enjoy your day or something. And it's usually like this, so I see it more like a tip, if that makes sense. I think that it's different when you then do Patreon, because you bring people to a different page and try to interact with them, and then maybe try to deliver on the content side. And I prefer just the idea of people watching my videos, maybe don't watch the ad before for 30 seconds and then press skip if it's longer, or in the best case scenario, watch both ads when they are 30 seconds or so. And then at the end, also let the ad run through, and I get a bit of money out of this. Or you have YouTube Prime, or whatever it's called. Prime. Is it called YouTube Prime? Premium, I think it's called, right? And this generates ad revenue, and basically the content is not behind some kind of paywall or whatever. I enjoy this most. I think it's very fair. But of course it has to work, and ad revenue money to make a living out of YouTube only works if you have the views for it. Yeah, the algorithm thing is really strange. I feel like there was a time I was really in the me and the algorithm went along pretty well, and there was a time, especially at the end of last year, like I had a huge drop in views in my channel out of nowhere. And after that, the algorithm and I tried to get friends again, I feel of. Yeah, maybe the inconsistent length might be a problem, but it could be, because my length of videos is very varying. But I would find that it's a very unfair factor if it would be factored into it. Yeah, we could. It's an interesting idea that maybe invite some other specialists that have like specific things. I tried to plan like a cooperation for a time, but it was always a bit daunting. Like with the other Tolkien creators, I have a very good relationship, I would say, and I appreciate them quite a bit, and they're very supportive. And we have like also contact over Discord with each other, so it's very easy for me to just write to a content creator and ask, hey, want to be on my stream? With the others, I have to try to establish contact then. Yeah, Kenneth G, much appreciated. And definitely, yeah, it's pretty. These long videos take just so long. If I would be better at freestyling, like if my delivery would be better and my stuff would be more on point, I could make more freestyle videos. But I think the freestyle videos only work to a certain degree, because free speech in English for me is difficult, and I would say I would even struggle doing this somewhat competent in German. Though I think in German I did some freestyle videos as well on the German channel, but that it felt better than compared to English. The word finding, my brain is simply sometimes too slow to find the words to really focus on delivery. I'm just happy that I can even complete the sentence somewhat consistent. That is already a plus for me. Yeah, something like this is definitely possible. It doesn't have to be behind a paywall as well. When, for example, Pumba says you could maybe do a weekly video where you take random questions and answer them, and so on. I had a format on this channel that I basically took questions from chat and answered from the comments and answered them, made like a dedicated video to one question. And yeah, I haven't done these in a long time, just because I was now so busy with the big videos, with Elrond videos. Now I have also Galadriel. I want to do a video about the dwarves at some point, so the next years are basically blocked already, content-wise. I have to go. Thank you, much appreciated for staying so long, Asteroid TV. It was a lot of fun to chat with you. See you on the next episode. Yeah, I hope so. It's the freestyle videos. It's just very. I can make a 50-minute freestyle video in I don't know, it takes me a fraction of the time if I do a scripted video. I noticed this with the review, which got really long. Like producing a scripted 50-minute video in a week. Like you have no idea how much I worked on this video to produce this. I released it on Thursday, right? Yeah, Thursday morning it came out, which is very late. I hope I got it done by Tuesday or Wednesday. But I don't know. It's really. I think I spent definitely more than 40 hours on this video in just a few days. So you can imagine it was just really exhausting. Ja, gute Nacht. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Thank you, Alex. Sleep well. Already late again. Yeah, you are right. Breaking the bubble. I also have there's a language expert I'm sometimes watching on YouTube. So, he's an expert for Old Norse. Would like to also maybe chat about some details, but a good interview with him would require me to get some preparation for it. Because you definitely need to look into a few things before to really make a good content out of that. I'm on that level of English as well. Yeah. I think the problem with the now my new approach on this channel, I'm not sure if it will work, but it's definitely, if I make a longer video like Who's Galadriel, I will split it, or Who's Elrond, I will split it in different parts. And basically have a specific topic in one video. I hoped it would work, that it would have worked better for the Who's Elrond video, I have to admit. Like the first 2 episodes, which are really long, they worked a lot, but all the 20 to 30 minute parts did very average in comparison. That's even though I think some of the later Elrond parts are really, really good. Like the Fall of Moria video I liked. The 2 Angmar videos I liked really, really a lot. What's also interesting, I made this Nazgul misconceptions video, and I produced it in parallel in English and parallel in German. It was the first video on my German channel. Even though I had no subscribers on the German channel, it performed better on the German channel than on my main channel, which I find so strange. Like, it performed really well. I got I don't know, I would have to look it up, maybe 11k views or so. And it's kind of strange when you have 43,000 subscribers and you bring out a video that should be interesting for a lot of people, and you think it's a decently produced video, that it performs 11k views, and that it performs just worse than on a channel that is completely new, has basically 20 subscribers or so at this point. And I don't know, that's really, really fascinating for me. Thank you, much appreciated. Yeah, the delivery, sometimes I feel like my speech would flow more. When I have a longer thought that I can express, then it kind of works, but it soon wears off quite a bit, and then I have to think again and find phrases to basically block the time where I think about what to say next and so on. It's very fascinating. And then I have to do production in parallel. That's also always a bit difficult. Now, if you want to more from reviews, you need to look into the hooked model, but it leads to a lot of short videos that grab the attention of viewers. I really would have laughed if just my style of video making would work, and it kind of worked in the past. Like, how did the Sauron video get 2.5 million views or whatever it has currently? Yeah, I think only 3% of my main channel viewership is German, or from Germany. Probably with Austria and Switzerland, it's maybe something like 4%. Hard to tell. Something like that. But I really like these big topics, like covering Elrond and everything that is written about him, even though like other people would make like, I don't know, 20, 10-minute videos out of that, and be much more successful. I always hoped like that the big lore videos grab the attention and make my channel stick out in a lot of in the style compared to a lot of other channels. Yeah, I also would like to not change, to be honest, because that's basically the way I work. I just noticed that these in the thumbnail, the P is reaching into the W. I didn't notice. Because Sauron is the one who binds them all. That is true. But also the video about Círdan and the history of the elves got over 1 million views, which highly surprises me. But it was also a lot of work making that one. And also the video about Gandalf also the Who is Sauron video is getting at 2.8 million views currently, which is really, really impressive. But as said, I would love to see like my newer videos kick off, and the only newer video that really got a lot of views is the Who is Elrond video currently. And it even has surpassed now the Who is Elrond Part 1, the first H1. The second H1 is really popular right now on my channel. But sometimes it feels like, I don't know, my older videos don't really perform that well anymore. Except for the really big ones. And that's really kind of unfortunate, I feel, because some of some videos I made recently where I think, okay, this is peak performance Chris. Like Isildur's End, also the first Second Age video is a video I like a lot. And the Watchful Peace video I think is also pretty good. These are all Who is Elrond videos though, but I have to admit those are pretty great. Very happy with the result. But okay, chat. I think we should call it a day. It was a very long stream. Let me just close something here in the background. And where is my ending screen? Maybe I should just roll the credits again. I'm not sure if I updated the credits here again. Probably need to update them. Let me just double check. Always difficult doing this stuff here live. Oh no, I got this one. Okay. Well, it's not complete, I think. There may be some names I should remove from the list, but whatever. I have not updated it yet. So we just go with the with the other credits here. I hope stream works. Okay, so these are the credits. In the meantime, I prepare the end screen. Yeah, really was a lot of fun. We discussed a lot of topics at the end that are not really related to this watch party, but it was really fun chatting with you people. Okay, my computer just dies. Not sure what it's doing. Well, it's a bit stuttery. Now it works again. Okay, awesome. I'm not sure where the stutter was coming from. Thank you, Chris. It has been 2 awesome streams today. Yeah, much appreciated. Glad you liked the streams. I was here from for the dying PC. Yeah, it's just PC has to do a lot of stuff, and it doesn't help that I render this in the preview without pre-rendering it in 4K resolution. But it kind of worked, and still streaming at the same time. So I should maybe add that. Yeah, have a great rest of the day, Chris. Yeah, thank you. Much appreciated. Only about half a day in total rookie numbers. Yeah, that was like a lot of stream today. We streamed 12 hours today, almost. That's really impressive. Yeah, fantastic rest of the day to you people. Thank you for watching, and I would say take a look at your wild guess above Spielcup. Yeah, so have a fantastic rest of the day. Thank you people for watching. See you next time, I would say, which I don't know when it will be. But next Friday is the soonest, and maybe I manage to make some videos in the meantime. So do this if you're also watching this as a VOD. Comment, subscribe, like, you know the stuff. So see you next time. Goodbye.